Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Fasting Frankie. In this episode, we answer the question, what's the most effective intermittent fasting schedule for fat loss? Okay, let's jump right in. If you're looking to lose fat through intermittent fasting, then you're in the right place. Fasting Frankie is all about using intermittent fasting as a fat loss tool. If this is the type of content you're looking for, I recommend liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you watch some of my other videos, you may have heard me say that intermittent fasting is not only an effective fat loss tool, it's also a flexible one. In my honest opinion, I think you'll have many options to choose from, and with a little effort and patience, you'll discover the most effective fat loss fasting schedule that's right for you. By the end of this video, you'll have the answer you're looking for and have a much better idea of what the most effective fasting schedules are for fat loss. I'll give you some examples and share with you the fasting schedule that has helped me lose 40 pounds in the first 9 weeks after starting IF. I've noticed that people, including myself, choose certain fasting schedules for personal reasons. We may work certain hours that cause us to choose a fasting schedule that fits better with our particular lifestyle. The good news is that I believe you'll have success with most fasting schedules. If you're new to intermittent fasting, I suggest you start gradually and work your way into a more aggressive fasting schedule if you have a lot of fat to lose. And don't worry, we're going to go over all of this. I also recommend taking time to find the right balance for you. Once again, a little patience and experimenting will have you shedding those unwanted pounds soon enough. Don't rush this process and use your body as a guide. Be realistic and patient, and the results will come with consistency. I'd hate for you to give up on fasting out of frustration. If you're starving all the time, you may need to adjust your fasting schedules accordingly. A little hunger here and there is okay, but starving constantly may require you to lengthen that eating window. In my opinion, fasting should be challenging, but if you feel weak, tired, and hungry all the time, you may have chosen too aggressive of a schedule. And once again, we'll talk about all this in a minute or so. I suggest taking it day by day. What I recommend and what I did to start was using the 16-8 fasting method. I apologize if you know this already, but for those of you who aren't familiar with IF, the 16-8 fasting method is eating all your meals in an 8-hour eating window and fasting for 16 hours. For example, if your last meal was at 8 p.m. the evening before, then you fast until 12 noon the next day. I remember when I first started, I would constantly look at the time, hoping my eating window would get here soon enough. I don't do that anymore. I did this for about 3 weeks, and then I transitioned to OMAD, one meal a day. I followed the OMAD or one meal a day fasting method for about 7 weeks. So just to sum up, I would say the first 5 weeks consisted of the 16-8 fasting schedule, followed by the OMAD one meal a day fasting schedule. I was able to lose 25 pounds following this intermittent fasting schedule in 5 weeks. I continued with OMAD, one meal a day, for January, and I lost a total of 40 pounds in 9 weeks. I did complete a 60-hour fast and a 72-hour fast in those 9 weeks as well. Going forward, I will most likely stick to OMAD, the one meal a day method, as my day-to-day fasting schedule. However, I will have days when I eat twice a day, and I will sprinkle in some of those 48 and 72-hour fasts on occasion. I have had tremendous success up to this point. However, as I stated earlier, I take a day-to-day approach and keep experimenting with my fasting schedule. I heard another YouTuber say that when fasting gets too easy, then you should consider lengthening your fasting window. This is why I transitioned from the 16-8 method to the OMAD method after about 3 weeks. I got to the point when I felt that the 16-8 IF schedule wasn't too difficult, but it was all I knew up until that point. I thought intermittent fasting was just 16 hours of fasting and an 8-hour eating window. I wasn't even aware that there were other methods to do this. I had no intention of starting a YouTube channel, and then when I started seeing the success, I felt that I wanted to share what I know and what I will learn along the way. When I first started OMAD, it was a little bit of a challenge, but I welcomed it because I felt like I was keeping my body guessing and working. This is also why I added prolonged fast into the equation. When OMAD got easy, I decided to challenge myself with the longer fasts. I wanted to keep the body guessing and not get too used to any one fasting schedule. There are days when I eat twice a day as well. I don't want my body to think that it's only going to get one meal a day forever. My concern was slowing my metabolism, and not sure if this is ever going to be an issue, but I just wanted to play it safe. So now that I've transitioned from 16-8 to OMAD with the occasional prolonged fast, the only other method you may want to consider, and one that is also very popular, is alternate day fasting. I haven't tried this method yet, but many have implemented alternate day fasting into their lifestyle and have had tons of success with it. As you can probably guess, this method in its simplest terms is you eat one day and you fast the other. I couldn't have started this from day one, but now I could probably do it if I chose to do so. So just to sum up quickly and answer the question, what is the most effective intermittent fasting schedule for fat loss? My recommendation is to start with the least restrictive fasting method, let's say the 16-8 method, and gradually work into the more aggressive intermittent fasting methods of one meal a day, alternate day fasting, and perhaps some prolonged fasting. As you can see, I've had success starting with the least restrictive method and slowly working my way up to the prolonged fasting, like I mentioned earlier. I did it when I felt ready I could do it. I use OMAD as my day-to-day primary fasting method, and I will continue to do some longer fasts on occasion, and I will have some days where I do the 16-8 method. In 9 weeks, I use a combination of 16-8, OMAD, and prolonged fast to lose 40 pounds. This is what I meant by finding balance and experimenting. I'm confident if you give IF a try, you'll find an effective fat loss fasting schedule as well. My goal is to record an update video every month. I will share my successes and failures, which I know there will be some, and what worked and what didn't work. If you want to follow along, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my monthly updates. In closing, you may have to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back at times, but you'll get it. Also, you may have a friend, coworker, maybe a family member who uses IF and has been for some time. I would caution you and warn you not to compare yourself or compete with them. Just because they're doing longer fasts doesn't mean you should be as well right out of the gate. So with that being said, I wish you the absolute best of luck, and I will see you in the next video. Remember, if you'd like to start a fasting program, it is advisable to seek the recommendation of a medical professional. This video is intended to be for entertainment purposes and just to look into my specific fasting journey. Okay, see you guys next time.